This week marks the anniversary of one of the major moments in the modern history of the Middle East. 4 decades later, Chief Washington Correspondent James Rosen with the story of Sadat in Israel.
When Egyptian President Anwar el-Sadat arrived at Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv 40 years ago this week, it marked a historic turning point in relations between Israel and Egypt, Arabs and Jews.
Suddenly the idea of not being isolated, suddenly the idea of not being rejected, suddenly the idea that you could actually live in this region and be accepted, it now became something that was thinkable.
Sadat's itinerary included visits to the Holocaust Museum at Yad Vashem, a wreath laying for soldiers slain in the Arab-Israeli wars, and a warm visit with his enemy in one such war, former Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir. In his televised speech to the Knesset, Sadat said he incurred the risk of the trip, including the prospect of condemnation from fellow Arabs to spare his brothers another destructive war with Israel. But he also conveyed less welcome messages.
Complete withdrawal from the Arab territories occupied in 1967 is a logical and undisputed fact. Nobody should plead for that.
Within a year, President Carter would host Sadat and Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin for the signing of the Camp David Accords, which in turn produced the first peace treaty Israel signed with any Arab neighbor. Diplomats from both nations returned to the Knesset to mark the anniversary of the Sadat speech.
This peace agreement paved the way to the peace agreement with Jordan and paved the way to the very deep relationship we have today with the Arab countries, with Saudi Arabia.
Egypt continues to carry the banner of peace in the region, including what you have recently seen in efforts to achieve reconciliation between the Palestinian factions in order to pave the way to relaunch peace negotiations.
Most historians believe President Sadat, who was assassinated in 1981, paid the ultimate price for his rapprochement with Israel, but the peace held. And later this month, Israeli diplomats will join Egyptian counterparts and President Sadat's widow for an evening reception in the Russell Senate Office building to commemorate this anniversary. Brett?
Our resident historian, James Rosen. James, thanks.